Today is Earth Day. This annual event was set up to demonstrate support for environmental protection. The first Earth Day was held on the 22nd of April, 1970. The movement now includes a wide range of events that are coordinated globally. Over 1 billion people have been mobilized in more than 190 countries. This year's theme is Invest in Our Planet. To chat us about the significance of this day, lecturer in strategy and sustainability at Stellenbosch Business School, Jako Volschenk. Dr. Volschenk, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. I saw an article that has been written about this Earth Day, and you are quoted in it, and the headline just grabbed my attention. Earth Day is humanity cooking itself to the point of no return. Are we, Doctor?
Good afternoon, Dan. Thanks for having me. Indeed, I think it is very difficult for us to admit, but I think at this point we have to seriously consider that the planet is heating up to the point where things like Durban, for instance, you spoke about that earlier, that these kind of events are happening to an increasing level. And unless we stop doing that, we're going to lead to the mass extinction of not just us, but many other species of the planet as well.
Yes, I mean, just a few days before the KwaZulu-Natal storm and floods, there was some devastation in the Philippines. And a few months ago, we saw the devastation, the floods in Germany. So everywhere you look, there is something that is happening. Now, it is Earth Day. Since 1970, more and more people are becoming more aware that you can play a role, no matter how small, in terms of climate change or changing the course of where the world seemingly is headed now, as you say. But stuff can be done. So how do you give meaning to Earth Day?
Dan, maybe I should start by saying if we think about climate change, there are two phenomena that are happening at the same time. So for one, first of all, think of climate change as the average temperature increasing over time. So it's a straight line moving in an upward direction. But around that straight line, there's a little squiggly line that goes up and down, up and down. And so it means that sometimes we're hotter than what we think or average is, sometimes below that. But what's been happening with that squiggly line, it's been swinging out of control. So it's going wider and wider around that average temperature. So we're seeing events like Durban coming up. You mentioned Germany. We mentioned, there was a big floods in Canada last year around, I think, August. So these things are happening more and more. It's solely due to the fact that there's so much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and average temperatures are on the increase and the weather system around that is not stable. Now, increasing carbon dioxide is because we are taking fossil fuels like coal and oil from below the Earth's surface and burning it into the atmosphere. So we're increasing carbon dioxide. But at the same time, we're also cutting down trees and forests, etc., which takes away the lungs of the Earth to actually breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. And the ridiculousness of it is that we are, for instance, in the Amazon, we are cutting down forests so that we can grow soybeans in order to feed cattle. And if we just made that equation much simpler. Let's just grow soy to feed people. You can immediately see that, that's an equation that doesn't even have to be discussed much. It's a very logical argument. We have to change a number of things. We have to change the energy system we use. We should be using less coal, more renewable energy. We should be traveling in fewer internal combustion engines, more electric vehicles, and on the contrary, not maybe in vehicles, maybe in motorcycles that are electric or even bicycles. And then when it comes to food, to move away from meat. And, there are areas in the world where we won't be able to grow anything else but meat. If we think about the Karoo, there's not much you can do there apart from grow meat. So the optimal system for food globally does contain meat. And then we're not considering animal ethics or any of those type of discussions, which would be a topic for, I think, Earth Day 20 years from now.
Yes. So finally, Dr. Volschenk, after that comprehensive overview of the challenges and what can possibly be done to improve things, I just want to ask you, I remember a few years ago when it was Earth Day, at a particular hour, we have to switch off the lights and we light the candles. Now we have no choice. ESCOM is forcing us to light the candles every other day anyway. But in terms of Earth Day, what could an individual, what do you do? There's messages around recycling. I hear you, there's a message around food production and our food system. But what can an individual do on a day like this to bring it to focus, to say we need to do something?
Dan, I think if we can do one thing, you and I will probably have this conversation again next year. And I hope that when we have this conversation next year, that most of your viewers would have done something to change. It always, a friend of mine says, there's no such thing as an ex-environmentalist. And if I can make your viewers think like an environmentalist for a second, I've succeeded. We need to start acting. We need to start changing the way in which we use energy. We need to start thinking about, is the quality of living that we have, can we sustain that quality of living for our future generations? And if the answer is no, then we need to reduce on what we're doing currently.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jako Volschenk from the Stellenbosch Business School to us on this Earth Day. Very straightforward answer there. Just do your part. Think like an environmental activist yourself wherever you are.